Welcome to the very first episode of the Alzheimer's Prevention Project podcast. This is a community where we take control of our brain health, defy the statistics, and rewrite the future of aging together. I am your host, Maryann, registered nurse brain health coach with a high genetic risk and a strong family history of Alzheimer's disease. After 2 decades of addressing health through a reactive lens, I've shifted the last 3 years to focus entirely on prevention. And I am here to tell you that your cognitive future is not set in stone. I started this podcast because there's a massive gap between what scientists know about the brain and what we are actually told at our doctor's appointments. Every single week, we are going to close that gap using one of 2 paths. First, we have Mind Over Data. Episodes where we strip away the complex medical jargon and translate the latest brain research into plain English. And second, we have Pillar Talk. This is where we hand you the exact day-by-day lifestyle blueprints to protect your mind. But today, for our very first episode, we are doing something incredibly special. I wanted our first guest to be someone who truly embodies resilience, leadership, and discipline. He is a graduate of West Point, a retired lieutenant colonel, and the former president of a university. He is also a man who was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease 3 years ago at the age of 67 and has spent every day since treating it like a strategic operation, combining cutting-edge anti-amyloid therapy like Kisunla with fierce lifestyle choices. He also happens to be my dad. Dad, welcome to the show.
I'm very honored and really happy to be on this show with you.
Oh, thanks, Dad. Dad, thank you so much for being our first guest. Just to establish a baseline for our listeners, you do know who I am, right?
If you don't know who you are by now, it's a little late, okay? However, you are Maryann Elizabeth Duffy, okay, born November 21st, 1980. Okay?
That's correct. Nailed it. Jokes aside, you were first diagnosed at 67 years old, and at the time, you were the president of the university, and that is a massive job, and that's a heavy diagnosis to hear. So take me back to that moment. How did you find the strength to pivot from leading an institution to fighting this disease?
That's a great question. I think, first and foremost, as I got this diagnosis, let's go back even a little further. Probably 2 years, 3 years prior to that, my wife Sharon, she would oftentimes say, Bill, sometimes you're forgetting some things or repeating some things. And I said, nah, it's just the pressure from being a president, blah, 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 and all those deflections. And so, I finally ended up talking to my executive assistant, and I asked Holly, I said, hey, am I starting to repeat things or ask questions or tell you something and whatever, forgetting certain things? And she goes, yeah, sometimes. And I said, right then. I went home and told Sharon, like usual, you're right again. So you got to, swallow that. But it did that. So let's go get checked out. So that's what I did. And sure enough, it was early Alzheimer's. And I worked through the VA clinics and all those kind of things, and great group of folks. And as it turned out, they said I had early Alzheimer's. And first thing I did was I talked to the board chair and let him know I was going to resign, because my whole life, everything I've done, if I couldn't feel like I was able to do it or complete the mission, whatever it might be, then I need to step down and let someone else better who can make it happen. And I just told him, I said, this is what it is. And I don't want to be a burden on this university. And I'm not at my 100%. Now, I certainly feel like I could have moved forward, but that wouldn't be, I know it wouldn't be 100%. So the great thing was about this, the board of trustees ended up asking me to stay for another year to do fundraising, and solely do fundraising in between, get myself ready for that next phase of our lives of retirement.
Okay.
Which Upper Iowa University, it is a great university. Faculty are amazing, board's amazing, every bit of this, and great sports and all that, and it's wonderful. And I have to thank them so very much for allowing me to go to this. And not many people would do that.
That's true.
I was also pretty good at fundraising and had made
great with people. Great with people. Yeah.
So that's how it all worked out. So when I was diagnosed, for me it was just okay, it's another challenge in my life, and let's just do whatever we can to slow it down. Because at that point, and if we can find a cure, if a cure shows up, that's great. But let's just see what we can do to do the best and slowing it down.
Yeah.
You know.
And mom's your primary caregiver. You know, I know we joke that she kind of outranks you in the house and has for years.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, what has it meant to you to have her by your side through the most important battle of your life?
Sharon's my angel. I mean, she is my life, and I would hope that all of you. I know you're always looking for that, and you're always going to have some difficulties in your lives. We've been married now for close, what, 47 years?
46 years,
46
yeah.
years, yeah. Can't even remember that. But anyway,
It's close. It's
yeah,
pretty impressive.
it's one of these things where, you got to find the right person to have. And with her comes two outstanding daughters. Then we got 5 grandchildren, then 2 great-grandchildren, and it's like, next thing you know, I mean, she's the anchor.
Yeah.
And, but everything that I was involved with, whether I was coaching high school soccer teams or whether was I'm doing at a university as a vice president or a president or with ROTC or in the military, Sharon would be there to get involved when we'd be deployed to locations. Sharon would be with the families. When we did all the other things with academics, other stuff, she's involved. And at every university I was at, when I was with ROTC teaching folks, and basically with ROTC, then I got to know the presidents at Appalachian State and University of Tennessee at Martin. And it was one of these where you become part of those families. And she was involved in all that stuff.
Yeah.
All the students, all the soldiers, all of those things. So she's my anchor. And then right after that, also have all my brothers and sisters who are crazy good and like have made some tremendous accomplishments, and they've helped me out in many, many other ways. We help each other out. So, I will say this to everybody, and I've told Maryann, I said, look, if anybody out there, if they want to talk to somebody, want me to talk to one of their loved ones and anything like that, I'll do it in a second.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I say that because, find that circle of people that you have that build you up.
Yeah.
And don't let it down. Okay.
Yeah.
So be positive.
I love that. I love that. Now, when you first got diagnosed, at time of diagnosis, you had an amyloid PET scan. And for those of you that are not aware, beta amyloid plaque is one of the hallmark signs of Alzheimer's disease, and along with tau as well. So at time of diagnosis, his amyloid PET scan showed a significant amount of plaque, and the most recent scan showed no detectable amyloid plaque. And I want to be very clear, we are incredibly grateful about this result. And while it isn't a cure or even a reversal, it does suggest that the disease has been stabilized. And what went through your mind when the doctor told you the results of your scan? What went through your mind? Did you feel relief or victory, or what was it that you were feeling at that time?
I was sitting on the table where I was, they were looking at me, whatever. I stood up and did a double flip off the chair and landed on the floor. No, I didn't do that. I think bottom line is what it did was it was just great. And I was prepared for honestly, no change. And when you get the diagnosis of, hey, it's cleared it out, and I said, well, that's great. Because what that means then gives you a couple of more years, maybe. It's still a bad disease, but the bottom line is kudos to all the nurses, all the doctors, all the scientists, all these people. And so it's amazing to me, and I like to be in that process. And the great thing when they did this, we did that with Kisunla, and then next thing we had, Kisunla.
Yep, that's
and then
right.
The next, all of a sudden, since I'm in that program, finishing that, I'm with another program, a START program.
Yeah, clinical trial. He's in a clinical trial.
And so it's one of these things where I'll get involved in any of these, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But for all your loved ones, there's hope out there, and don't expect there's going to be a miracle, but do the best you can to make that medicine go forward, to make it develop even more, and get involved in that. Okay, so for me, it was a big win. I didn't
Yeah.
quite jump off the
You
ladder
didn't do
like
a
I said, but
backflip.
it was, and
It was a
I
W.
have to again. I've got great doctors. I'm with the
Yeah.
VA and all
And
that.
I do want to actually give a shout out to his medical team.
Yeah,
So, the first neurologist actually did not recommend the Kisunla.
yeah,
And if you're listening, buddy, to you,
yeah.
because we disagreed. Luckily, his brother is a scientist and was able to review all the research. And we made a decision as a family to not listen to that first doctor. Thank goodness. He was at the time moving from Iowa to Florida and was placed by the VA, who is wonderful here, the VA is, and they referred him to the Bird Alzheimer's Institute in Tampa. And they are phenomenal. Shout out to Dr. Bishnoi, his neurologist, his whole medical team. They are just wonderful. So we feel very grateful. And I also want to take a plug that Dad's results were kind of power packed with the lifestyle choices that he has put in place. One of Dad's major drivers, two of his major drivers were untreated hearing loss and untreated sleep apnea. So I want to encourage all you, if you or someone you love is hard of hearing, please get that evaluated and treated. If you or someone you love has difficulty sleeping, or you're snoring, please get a sleep study. While you are sleeping, particularly in deep sleep, that is when your brain is clearing out the beta amyloid plaque. That is when your glymphatic system goes to work, and this is really important for brain health. So I just want to very much encourage that in his results were power packed because he did start wearing his hearing aids, even though he's not wearing them now. But he did try to focus better on sleeping. He still does struggle with some sleep, but there are things that he tried to change. The major ones, his diet, he eats fish 3-4 times a week. He is working out 4 to 5 days a week. He gardens, he still plays chess, his mindset, he has social interactions, he has purpose. He is still very much in tune with all of the things that I talk about when it comes to prevention. So I did want to just make that plug that a lot of this is multifaceted. And I think a lot of it starts with mindset because if you can, you will. If you can't, you won't. And even though that plaque is officially gone, there is still forgetfulness there. And so, Dad, how do you feel when you have those moments of forgetfulness? How does that make you feel?
And this is a very important question, I think, because quite often, and even when I've talked to some people who have been involved, they're almost hesitant to talk to people, and because sometimes they may see those people again, and then they don't remember their names and those kind of things, and it's just a matter of being embarrassed. So for me, what I often do is when I meet someone new, I used to, say their name over a couple times and I'd remember, but that's not working all the time.
Hmm.
So what I usually do is I just look, hey, I say, "Hi, my name's Bill," and then, "What's your name?" Then they tell me, and then next thing you know, we're in the end of the conversation. I said, "Listen, I just want to let you know I have Alzheimer's, and so don't get offended if when you're walking by here and they say your name, and you don't say their name, so." And that's what you got to do. You have to own that, but don't be afraid of that because quite frankly, when I do that, it's funny what happens. Quite often they'll come up even before they say, "Hey, Bill, remember me?" And then I'll say, "No, I really don't. Tell me your name." So we start laughing about it.
Yeah.
So, but it's one of these where it's it's part of your life. It's
Hmm.
part of the life that you have to deal with. And the worst thing to do is take an attitude that is woe is me. You have to just own it and don't let that take over your life,
Yeah.
you know?
And I think another thing that's important that has been very important in our family is having a sense of humor. A lot of people get offended that we find humor in this, but I'll give you a couple examples. We were on the way to a doctor's appointment one time and we were almost there and Dad, I hear him go, "Damn it." And I'm like, "What?"
Let's tell that
He
story.
looks down and he
This is
says,
quite embarrassing, okay?
I forgot my damn shoes."
We take this
We
stuff off the
laughed so hard. So I stopped in a Dollar General. I got him a pair of camouflage flip-flops and I said, "See, now no one will even notice." And there there was an incident where this April we were on a cruise and we had stayed at an Airbnb before we got on the cruise, and we get on, he has lost his watch. He thinks he's left it at the Airbnb. We've contacted the host. We've been messaging them. We're like, we're confident it's there. And the whole time, we talked about this watch because he needs this watch. He relies on that watch quite a bit. So anyway, we're leaving the cruise, and guess where that watch was? Right on the top of the lamp in the room where he set it upon their arrival on the cruise.
But I found
We did find it.
I was
We
testing my wife.
laughed
See if she could
our
recall.
arses off about that. And then the most recent one was this weekend. We were staying in Clearwater Beach for the weekend, and we met a lovely couple while we were swimming in the pool. They were fantastic. And Dad, you want to tell them the rest of this?
It's not a big deal. I'm sure all of this has happened.
So funny.
So I've been a pool. We're there. We find some great friends. Our next door neighbors right
Yeah,
there
they just so
in
happened
the
to be great, yeah.
condo, and basically, so it's wonderful. We're laughing, having all this stuff, and then they go in and whatever. Then finally, I'm one of the last ones out, and I go up to the door, open up the door,
Open the door to our room.
the door, and I'm looking, and all of a sudden, it's the guy halfway dressed. He's got the towel around
He just
himself.
got
He's
out of-
naked, and I go, what are you doing in our place? He goes, Bill, you're not in our place. This is our place. And I said, well, get out. So anyway, it was one of those times that you just have to, don't run away from just own it. And I can tell many of you, it's like, it's hard when you start a conversation and right in the middle, you say to the person, what was the question again?
Yeah.
Okay. What am I talking about? What am I looking for again? It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's, you own these things. And I have to just make a fist. It was so, and with the last couple,
We were
it
crying, laughing, and when they left, I was like, "Hey, did you guys make sure to leave your door open for my dad?" I mean, we were all laughing so hard, and I think that brings me, how important has it been to keep your sense of humor when things like that happen, or just throughout this whole thing?
Yeah.
How important is it
Yeah.
to keep your sense of humor, would you say?
Well, yeah, I'd say that. And I've told Sharon over and over, it's not my fault all the time. I blame Sharon more than that. Okay.
It's my mom.
Yeah.
And you know what I just realized? I don't think I introduced him as Dad. This is Bill Duffy, by the way. I did not actually mention his name, so I probably should have mentioned that. But this is Bill Duffy. I know him as Dad. So you have been so disciplined with your lifestyle, with the heavy workouts, the dietary changes, the mental stimulation, the mindset, socialization, trying to wear your hearing aids even though they're not in now. But what is your excuse when you do have your hearing aids in when you ignore Mom? What is your excuse then?
Well,
Since we know you
never
can
ignore
that.
her.
We'll have Mom on for an episode, and we will talk more about that.
Okay. So it's for that, Mom has been my angel.
Yeah, of course she has.
You know
Yeah.
that. And so sometimes I have to, and it does. Quite often, when I have to move around, I have pills to take, and they have to be refrigerated. So no matter what happens, got to have a little refrigeration bag there.
Yeah.
One of those cold packed things, and put them in there. And so she's always thinking of ways to make sure it doesn't happen. So,
Yeah.
like whenever we go somewhere, she'll put stickers up. Hey, let's make sure
you remember
make sure
this.
the
Yeah.
meds and that stuff. But
Let's touch
Yeah.
your hearing aids, though. Let's touch on that
Yeah.
because, when we talk about what's your excuse for not hearing her, sometimes you don't wear them.
I don't.
And what was it your
I think
neurologist?
the most important part of that is, like the doctor said, the minute you get up,
Yeah.
come on, and take them off at night.
Yeah.
And so quite often I have that intention, but there's times when then you got to clean them.
Yeah.
And so that's just it. You got to keep it as a routine. And there's times when I do my workouts, I don't use my hearing aids for
Yeah.
the music that I use for aerobics. And so, I forget after that to put them in there. But Sharon, typically nowadays, she'll remind me.
Helps her to remind you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a super fair, because that was one of his drivers. And I think it's fair in my dad's case, he has hard time hearing high-pitched sounds. So he can't really tell a difference when he is not wearing them in sound. It's not like when he doesn't wear them, he can't hear anything. He can actually hear very well, except for the high pitches like an S sound. And so as a result, it's harder for him to recognize immediately that he's not wearing them, and then naturally he just may forget them. The other ones he was wearing also bothered him, just like when he first got a CPAP, that bothered him. So some of these are really hard things to adjust to when you're not used to it, and I think that's fair to point out.
Let me just say too, I went through not only a CPAP, several CPAPs, and it just was one of those I could never make that happen.
Yeah.
But also, I had a mouthpiece. I
Yeah.
have a mouthpiece that helped me out somewhat with my sleep,
Mhm.
but then it would keep coming out and things. So it's a challenging time to try to find devices that will help you with sleeping because that's a big deal.
That's a huge
And
it's
so,
probably one of the most
yeah, it
important.
really is. It
Yeah.
really is. And so sleeping, you got to figure out a way to get through that. And
And he
yeah,
monitors his
yeah,
sleep,
I
and we
do.
can always tell
Yeah,
too when he has poor sleep, it does impact the memory.
yeah,
When he sleeps better, he is
yeah,
more sharp that
yeah,
next day.
yeah.
So, and
And
I think
the other thing it does, it also helps you look at the way your sleeps, how you sleep, your side, your back, or whatever.
yeah.
And so I really had changed my
To
that
the side, right? Yeah,
to the
because
side.
what he has is
Yeah,
obstructive sleep
yeah,
apnea, so it's really the
yeah,
anatomy,
yeah.
like, when he obviously is not overweight or anything
That's
like
right.
that.
And we had to really look at what kind of blankets and things like that. So
Yeah,
all that makes a difference.
it does, it does.
Sleep is a big deal,
It's a
probably
huge
one of the
deal. The
biggest.
mattress,
Yeah,
the what you're sleeping in,
yeah,
are you is it
yeah,
organic, the type
yeah,
all of that stuff plays a factor. Also, when you get up in the morning, if you take a walk within the first hour or 2 so your naked eyes can see the light, that helps to reset your circadian rhythm. Routine is very important for your brain. So all these things are very important. So now you work out pretty heavily and you stay so active. On days when you might feel tired or frustrated, what is it that pushes you to get out of bed and just keep fighting? Is that the military in you? Is that your, growing up with your dad? What is that internal drive that just keeps you going?
yeah. I've always been a fighter. I was a wrestler in high school and captain of the team, and basically ended up getting recruited for wrestling in West Point. Then ended up playing soccer also. So it was one of these things where I always liked the fitness stuff,
Mhm.
and whether it's weightlifting and all that. So as I've grown older, basically, the internet has so many great things you can look at and some routines that you can do. But one of the things that I've done, and I've done it for now, this is probably about 20 years that I've been doing this, maybe 15, yeah, probably 20 years. But my classmates, I have 4 or 3 other classmates who basically we work out.
Mhm.
We report just through text and just say, "Okay, here's," and, one climbs a mountain, you know, I'll do all my tell 'em about my fitness, what I do during the week and during the days.
So it's like
It's accountability.
accountability. Yep.
That's what it is. And if you don't put it in there, then you got one of them or 2 of them putting a text and say, "What's the problem here, slacker?" And so so it's one of these things, it's to those, find some partners or whatever to go to the fitness center to do these things because it helps motivate you and it
Mhm.
helps to get you going. And then all of a sudden, "Ah, I don't want to get up and doing it now." Those kind of things. But it's like that's the thing. So find those opportunities to that can help you go go work out, go do some
Yeah.
swimming and do those kind of things. Yeah,
Consistency.
everything like that.
Dad has a very impressive internal motivation as well. So I know that's not as easy. It doesn't maybe come, but I think it's just, you just got to do it. You got to put one foot in front of the other. You got to pick yourself up by the bootstraps and sometimes you just have to force yourself, for those of you that may not have the same kind of mindset. So you are still playing a ton of chess online. When you're sitting there and you're playing chess, tell me, what does that do for you or for your brain? Is that really to help to keep your brain sharp, or is that more about just beating people online
Fir-
because you're very competitive? Because
First and foremost, it makes Sharon very mad when she's driving all the time because I can't drive because of Alzheimer's. Woohoo! So Sharon's the driver all the time, and then I'm playing chess all the time. So
yeah.
I got to do a better talking to Sharon when she's driving. But I will say this: the chess thing is, I was captain of the chess team in high school for 1 year.
Mhm.
Okay, they needed some people to play chess, and I guess I was one of the people that played. So I told him I'd show up just after my wrestling stuff was done.
Mhm.
So bottom line was we would we basically what was the question again?
It was about the chess.
I'm doing this on purpose to show how we were reacted.
It was for chess. Do you
Oh
do
yeah,
it to
chess. Oh,
keep
yeah,
keep
yeah,
your mind
yeah,
sharp, or
yeah, yeah, and that's part of it too.
yeah.
But Alzheimer's was part of that.
and if you wanna
Yeah.
play him
Yeah.
online, it's chess.com.
It's
And
chess.com,
what is your
SCWR.
okay, he will definitely play you in some online
Yeah.
chess.
But the grandmasters and stuff, they're like in 2,900. So I would consider myself average, but yeah.
Impressive though that you're still
But
playing
yeah, and
chess,
I
I
do
think.
that because that's one of the things that does help my mind and to
Yeah, and
keep it
it's
active.
fast paced and
Yeah,
it's
and
it's
very
timed and
fast-paced.
so
Yeah.
and also, when he plays, he also whistles. He has a certain, he'll whistle tunes while he
Mhm.
plays, which is a new thing. That was kind of newer with the disease since the disease is well, I've never noticed it before.
Me either. So, it's just mom. Yeah.
It's everyone. We notice it if you're sitting around him, you would notice it. But they're good tunes, so he has a great taste of music. If there are people that are listening right now that may have just received a diagnosis of Alzheimer's or maybe have a loved one that just received a diagnosis and they are terrified right now.
Mhm.
As someone that has been in the trenches for 3 years fighting this battle and winning, what do you want them to know?
You're not by yourself,
I
and
love
you just have to find that team that are there for your life, and those are the ones that will be there, and it's one of these things where find those that are gonna build you up versus take you down. That's the first thing I would say, so
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but dad always said that when growing up, you are who you hang around with. If you are the smartest person in any room, find a new room. And so you want elevator people, those that lift you up,
uh,
not
uh,
because if they're not lifting you up, they're dragging you down.
yeah.
And that is something he has always said. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. That probably made you lose your train of thought. But we were talking about what you want
Yeah,
them to know for anybody that may have just gotten diagnosed or has a
yeah,
loved one
and
that's
so
gotten
and I'd
diagnosed.
say there's so many folks that are out there, and I mean worldwide, who are looking at these diseases and making some progress.
Hmm.
And here it is, me, where I'm at. I'm diagnosed. Next thing I know, I'm in a program with
Yeah.
Kisunla. Next thing I know, all of a sudden, hey, there's progress being made
Yeah.
here. This is happening all over the world. So first of all, find your team.
Yeah,
Find
find
your
your
team of
people.
supporters, the medical people, whatever it might be. Get into the fitness thing. Get the people who are helping you to make sure that you're doing the things you need to do, and get all the nasty kind of food and stuff, and do those
And
kind of
people.
things. And really,
Get the
yeah,
nasty people and the nasty food
and
out of your
say
life.
that there,
Get
any
all the toxic things
get
out
the
of your life.
negative things out of there.
Yeah,
That's I
all the
say this
toxic.
to all the time. I say if it's very negative and stuff, it's no good
It's
for you.
like a cancer.
That's right, and so I love it when I see Maryann doing these kind of things because it's such a positive thing, and same thing with my other daughter, Dawn, they're amazing, and it's just and the other thing I would say is for f all I firmly believe no matter what happens, I've been very blessed, myself and Sharon,
Mhm.
with all the opportunities we've had to make a difference in people's lives, and I think then that when you really look at things, those dying days, whatever it might be, that last things you're thinking, the bottom line for me is I feel like I've been very blessed, and you should find those people in your lives to make you better and to make a difference in their lives, make a
It's
difference in other
yeah, I
people's
think
lives.
that's one
That's what you got.
yeah, one of the biggest things that he has definitely taught us is really live your life to make a difference in the lives of others.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
at the end of the day, at the end of the road, when you're laying there, you don't want to look back and have any thoughts that your life didn't make a difference or you're not somehow you didn't
yeah.
impact positively, you didn't leave a positive mark on the world.
So, like I said, go back to it. I'd be happy to talk to anybody,
Yes, and he
whoever
really
in your
would.
family. I got nothing else to do. I'm
Yeah, what
retired.
else is he gonna do? And it would give him purpose,
Yeah,
see?
for
So
real.
to help support,
Yeah.
and, help support others out there.
Because it's to me, it's just another challenge, and basically, if I can help in any way, I would love that. So
Yeah,
just keep that.
and I think it's really important because we have a strong family history. He lost his mother to the disease, dementia, but we can now assume it was Alzheimer's. I do have a high genetic risk, so I inherited the gene not only from my dad, but I also inherited it from my mom. She doesn't have a diagnosis, but I am what we call an ApoE44. That's about 1 to 2% of the population, and it makes up about 15% of all Alzheimer's cases. And almost 50% of all Alzheimer's cases have at least one ApoE4 gene variant. He is an ApoE3/4. So everybody either gets an ApoE2, 3, or 4 from their parents. So you are either going to be an ApoE2/2. 2 is thought to protect against Alzheimer's, 3 is neutral, and 4 is the increased risk. So you can either be an ApoE2/2, which is the best odds, a 2/3, a 2/4, a 3/3, which is the most common, a 3/4, or a 4/4, which is the highest risk. So I am a 4/4, he is a 3/3, but also almost half of the cases, up to 45%, do not have a genetic risk. That means, and research suggests that up to 40 to 45% of all cases may be preventable by lifestyle mitigation. And Alzheimer's starts in your 30s and 40s. I want to be very clear about that. It does not start when you forget a name. It is starting years ahead, and it is the choices that we are making right now in our 30s and 40s that actually impact our outcome. And so, circling back to this and bringing us back to the present moment, we do not know what tomorrow looks like. But right here, right now, sitting in this room, in your living room, and doing this podcast together, how are you feeling about life?
I feel blessed. I feel blessed because I have such wonderful people in my life and tremendous and very loyal friends and other folks who have helped bring us along throughout this journey. And it's just, Sharon and I, we talk about some of the things that's happened, some of the stories, some of the progress, the progress we've made. And to me, this is just another issue that I have to work with. And at times I do forget certain things. Sharon helps me out with that. But the bottom line is, it is what it is, and you do the best you can. And I feel very healthy. When she's talking about the fitness side of it, yeah, I feel as healthy as
Yeah,
I'm
he's in
really good.
much better shape than I am at 70 with Alzheimer's, and I am 45 without it, and he is in much better shape than I
Yeah,
am.
and so it's one of these things where, again, find that team.
Hmm.
And so I love it with my classmates. They're keeping me so that I'm doing these things and with my family. And I love it how Maryann's involved in all these kind of things. So
Yeah,
if
fine
there's
people.
anything that I can do to help out one of the families, that just gives me more pleasure. And I would just say,
He means that.
hopefully you all, as you go through this journey, as you go through, you're not alone. You're not alone.
That's true.
And you can make a difference.
We are right here. We are right here for you.
Progress I'm doing with the other one, with the START program
Mhm.
and with the Kisunla, basically, you want to be part of the successes, and I feel blessed for that. So
Yeah.
God bless all of you that have family members like that, and just, you know, do the best you can.
Yeah, I love that. Well, Dad, you've been a lieutenant colonel, a brother, son, uncle, friend, leader, university president, champion against this disease, and a pain in the ass. But it says that right there on the card. It says pain in the ass.
Oh
I'm just
my
reading the card, Dad.
God. Okay.
But my favorite title of yours is just Dad. So thank you for being my first guest, and thank you for showing me how to fight with dignity, a smile, and a sense of humor, and not just against this disease, but just life in general. You have been a pillar of strength, you and Mom both.
Mhm.
And you've always, you have shown me what it's like to lead with integrity, have a moral compass. Not everybody has that moral compass. I have worked with some people that absolutely do not have, and not just worked with people. I have met people that lack that integrity. So Dad has always shown me that. So I really want to thank you, Dad, for just being kind of that guiding light with your mindset and just how you've approached this whole thing, because you are the reason why I have started and founded the Alzheimer's Prevention Project. You are the one that showed me that I do not need to sit around because of my family history, because of my genetics, because I'm a woman, because I'm getting older. It is not a guarantee for me, and it's not a guarantee for anybody. We can defy the statistics together, and that's what really you've inspired me to do, and why I've started all of this and this whole podcast. So thank you, Dad. Appreciate you.
I think you're quite amazing too.
Oh,
So
thanks, Dad. What an incredible way to kick off the podcast. I want to give a massive thank you to my dad for his time, his honesty, and his legendary sense of humor. And a huge thank you to my mom, who is the real commander-in-chief for everything she does. Now, I promised you that we would always bridge the gap between heavy science and real life, and we are hitting the ground running. Next week is our very first Mind Over Data episode, and I am incredibly excited to welcome our first guest for the Mind Over Data episodes, Dr. Stuart Firestein. Dr. Firestein is a neurobiologist and a former chair of biological sciences at Columbia University. And what I absolutely love about him is his mission to strip away the stuffiness of the scientific community. He literally wrote the book on how science actually works for the public, embracing the idea that what we don't know is just as important as what we do. In his laboratory at Columbia, he studies the olfactory system, our sense of smell. And as a brain health coach, I am fascinated by this because our sense of smell is one of the deepest, most direct highways to memory, emotion, and early changes in brain health. He is going to help us look under the hood of brain research, and trust me, you do not want to miss it. And before you go today, remember, every small choice you make today is a deposit into your brain health retirement fund. If today's episode shifted your perspective or inspired you in a positive way, please hit that subscribe button, leave us a review, and share this episode with someone you care about. Every single share helps us build this community and defy the statistics together. And make sure to tune in next week for episode 3. Until next time, keep learning, stay proactive, and take control of your brain health. I am Maryann, and this is Bill, and I'll see you next week on the Alzheimer's Prevention Project.